We are recording. Okay. Today we are going to be analyzing and commentating on lightsaber fights from the past year in 2019 because obviously during the pandemic we couldn't have that many lightsaber fights and we miss it. So we're going to be looking through fights that were back when we started the league and talking about what was good, what was bad, and especially how the league has grown to fights that are happening nowadays. Today we have Cale, who is going to be commentating with me. Hello, Cale.
I'm Cale.
And this fight that we're going to be commentating is Cale versus Lee.
That's me and some other guy.
So Cale is on the left. Cale is fighter blue, and Lee is on the right. Lee is fighter red. We don't generally have the fighters be based on the color of their lightsaber because that could be any color of the rainbow, and often it is the same color on both fighters, so red versus blue works every time.
Yep. And occasionally somebody's lightsaber's battery will die. Because, yeah, batteries.
Yeah. They're not actually lightsabers. We don't have kyber crystals yet.
Giving away spoilers. All right, so it's going to be that kind of video where we just let everyone know that we don't have real lightsabers.
Yeah, well, somebody has to do it.
I want to draw attention to that I was stretching there at the beginning. I was loosening myself up.
This is an wonderful example that Cale is going to be a very limber fighter. He limbers up before his matches. It's an excellent sign. Terrifying if you're going against him, but great to watch.
I used to be limber, at least. The pandemic took that from me. Okay, so are we still? Yep.
So
yeah, I was gonna ask, should they have stopped the fight there?
So they stopped the fight there because you had gone out of bounds. Red fighter had gone out of the ring, and that is an official halt. Normally it would be a warning. Obviously this was when we were first starting out, so we didn't issue many warnings, but in terms of the fighting, if you go outside the second ring, the fighting has to stop because you've left the ring. Also, I believe there were a couple points about how neither of you were loading your attacks fully, and so none of your hits were counting, and the coaches just wanted to step in and explain, this is why we haven't stopped you yet. You're hitting each other a lot, but none of these hits count.
Right. Yeah, I guess if this is everyone's first video, our attacks look like they're wide and like wild, huge swings, and it's just to try to get the load locked in, which I'm sure there'll be an example of a good load here shortly.
I mean, I assume someone hits a point at some point. Eventually.
I could see the blue ribbon tied around my arm. It's my left arm, hidden away from the camera.
Bad framing on your part.
So that was not loaded on my part, I don't think. Not until the riposte.
So
would you say that my initial strike, because I launched the first attack, would you, and I guess the judges, would they have called that as a full load?
I believe yours was a riposte, and we can watch it again at half speed. But from what I saw, it looked like, okay, apparently my settings will only let me double speed it from that button. All right. The initial attack was blocked by you, the attack from Lee, and then you riposted. Is that a word? Riposted?
Yeah, why not?
You riposted. Attacked with a riposte. And that attack landed, which got you points.
Okay.
At least from my point of view. The judge is over here on the far right. he might be seeing something completely different than our camera angle can.
Well, so as soon as the fight starts, though, I think I lunge forward with a swing. Do I make the initial swing? I thought I made the initial swing, and I don't think that was a legal strike.
Let's see. So you both swing there, neither does anything. And then Lee's coming in there with a fully loaded attack at your leg. You've
Yep.
already got a block ready.
Oof.
Hits that, you come down on his head. Quick.
So I like that I
surgical.
was blocked ahead of time, but I noticed that my foot was beyond my block zone.
It was. Not the best strategy. Feet are technically a target. It is rare that a foot gets hit just because it's so small and they move so fast. But yeah, you totally could have been hit there. You would have lost.
I gotta tiptoe back inside of my block square.
Don't do that, Cale. All right, so that would be 5 points to Cale because Cale got a headshot.
Boom, headshot. I heard Xander say shoulder.
Yeah, the judges are calling it as a shoulder. It's
But-
still 5 points though.
Okay.
Just note here, Cale, you're starting in the middle of the ring.
And that's wrong?
It's not the best strategy. Because we have ranged weapons here with lightsabers instead of fists, you want to have as much distance to start as possible, usually, in order to be able to change that distance how you'd like to. I'm sure there is a strategy where you start in the middle and you back up if you need to, but since you've already left the ring twice in this match, I don't know that that's working for you that well.
Dang it, past Cale.
Lessons learned, right? Right?
Yes. Yeah, now I start very much further away. And I don't think I've ringed out twice in one match since then. Definitely not anytime this year, but that has nothing to do with the fighting.
I was going to say, I don't think we've fought yet this year. It is only January, but
No, yeah, we fought attrition. That's what we fought. I think I heard somebody telling Lee to load.
that would be Ian. So that was a wonderful example of a full load from Cale. If you just saw that, that's a great lunge you've got there. But if we go back 1 second, right there. See how your lightsaber is completely behind your back and your hand is behind your back, and any angle that would be very obvious, you have fully loaded here. And that's what we're looking for, especially in the beginning.
It looks so violent in this one freeze frame, but I'm glad that whenever it plays out, it's not as hard of a swing as it looks like it could be right here.
You could definitely go full tilt on this, but we have the good fortune of having a lot of very kind fighters in our league where no one is beating on each other with full force just to prove that they can. You hit as hard as you need to and not beyond that.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lee avoided your entire attack instead of even having to block it, which was really smart on his part because it looked terrifying. Instead of trying to block it or trying to deal with it, he just stepped out of the way and there was nothing you could do about it.
I mean, yeah, I guess good for him.
It's my favorite way to deal with attacks is just don't deal with it.
I feel like everyone should just stand still and let me hit them.
Is that what you do for your opponent?
It would take a lot less energy. You'd be less tired after the match.
True. And the matches would be a lot shorter. So this most recent halt was just halted. This most recent halt was called, I believe, because both lightsabers have turned off at this point. And in our rule set, if the lightsaber is off, the lightsaber is not active and none of the hits count.
Yeah, and that was kind of like what we mentioned with the lightsaber colors sometimes changing mid-match, is if your lightsaber battery just dies, then you will need a new lightsaber.
Exactly, yeah.
Force pull!
That's why you have your Padawan behind you at all times, just in case.
Everyone gets Padawans now? Oh, okay.
No, I mean, you didn't get the memo?
No.
Well, then you're not good enough for a Padawan.
Hey, Lucy, how could I get the memo? Galactic Saber newsletter.
We don't have one yet.
Never mind.
When we have a newsletter, please sign up for it, and then you can learn more about our league and how we're fighting. But we don't have one right now.
So that didn't count for any points then, right?
Right. That halt was no points. It was just lightsabers have turned off. None of these attacks have been counting. Please turn your lightsaber on to make this fight actually work.
And it's hard to see that your lightsaber turns off in the middle of the day. We've had some night fights where, whew, geez, the lightsaber was almost too much light.
The lightsaber is all you can see, though, and then the attacks, you can only tell what they're hitting right before they hit, because that's the only time it's lit.
That's the judge's problem.
They'll deal with it on their own. So here the...
Everyone's laughing.
Perfect load from Cale again, but no hit for it.
Oh, so what happened? Sounded violent.
It
sounded rough, but it wasn't, I swear. So what happened there?
So you did the exact same thing you did the last time you got a point, which was honestly a pleasure to watch, because it is just so very textbook in terms of how to get a headshot in lightsaber. Lee came at you from a low attack again. You blocked the low attack again. You had your saber down, ready to block it, because that's where you rest your saber, I guess. Everyone's different in that regard, but you have a low guard generally. So Lee came at you from a low attack. You blocked it, swung around with the riposte, and hit him on the head, neck, shoulder area. He didn't have time to get his saber up from the low attack to a block in that time, and you got an easy 5 points.
It was definitely initial contact to the head, and this was back. I say back, but I think a lot of us are still using the lacrosse helmets, and they are so much better for the top of the head.
They are. They are. I know that a lot of leagues in lightsaber prefer to use a fencing helmet, and they have their merits for sure, especially when it comes to thrusting. Lacrosse masks, at least back when we were fighting initially, they didn't have any plastic guard or anything, so a thrust would take your eye out. Nowadays, most of our lacrosse masks have that additional plastic guard in the front so that it blocks a thrust, at least the first time. But our league also has a rule that you cannot thrust, so the risk of that is less.
I was wondering if that was going to be brought up, because there have been no thrusts in this match, for good reason.
It's true. It's illegal. If it happens, you're wrong. It's considered bad sportsmanship, because it is very easy to just fall into your partner and hurt them a lot more than is necessary. And like we've said, in our league, you only hit to the point of it counting. You don't hit past that.
Yeah. And also, if you're fully loading a blade behind your spine and then thrusting from that distance, I bet a lot of people could pick up speed before realizing how fast their thrust is going.
Definitely. So now Cale has 10 points. Lee has no points. The match is fought to 15 points. So let's see where it goes.
I am on the precipice of victory.
One more attack exactly like that and you're done.
It'd be terrible to like lose a 10-0 lead.
I've done it. It hurts. You get cocky. You get cocky in the first couple minutes and then you lose your guard or someone comes at you because they don't want to lose and fortunes change very quickly.
I feel like we could have an entire conversation about the range of emotion from the beginning of a match to the mid of a match to the end of a match. Like, because, like, yeah, I won't talk about it. I'll let the video play. But yeah.
Yeah, you are not wrong. A lot of dodging.
Fainting. I'd like to say it's fainting.
and just missing.
Was there a halt called?
There was. The halt was called by a bystander and not the official judge. So whether or not that halt is legal depends. Earlier in this same match, a bystander called halt because your lightsabers were off. I wouldn't. That was the director of the league who halted it, so I think that he kind of trumps the judges. But in general, if someone's just watching and you start to get worried or you think something happened but you're not the judge and you call halt, it doesn't officially end the match. Just because if that was true, then anyone in the audience, anytime their favorite person was losing, could call halt and stop it.
Like pausing the game.
Exactly.
You're about to hit me, pause.
Back to a safe point. So let's hear the reasoning for that halt, because you did separate. So the official judgment there was Lee hit you on the leg. They think. It ended up being counted with the final score, so Lee does get 3 points here. But we can watch that again to see.
Already losing that huge lead I had.
It is now 10-3.
Everything's gone terrible. The Rebel Alliance is lost.
If that's all it takes to destroy it, I'm surprised it lasted. So here we are at half speed. There's a feint, another feint, a miss, or a dodge, a miss, there it is. And you can see that your right leg kind of jerks away from the hit, which is how, from this angle, we can tell that he definitely made contact.
Stupid leg.
The one time you let your low guard go.
They'll call me Cale Low Guard before too long.
If you let them.
I let them.
So,
all right, well, good for Lee, I guess.
Lee gets 3 points. Halted. Some people said it wasn't loaded. Some people said it was. In the end, the judge trumps all, and the judge says that it was a fully loaded attack on your leg, so it counts as points.
The judge is Emperor and Darth. Did I jump the gun?
You were either very fast or a little bit early. Either way, you both loaded at the same time and then hit at the same time, so it didn't count. But maybe.
I'm gonna say that I'm very fast, and the audio was just delayed. Yeah,
Ah,
there was no fault of my own there.
of course not. Of course not.
In this freeze frame, is that a lights? No, okay, that was my bandana. I was like, is that a lightsaber in my side?
That would be concerning. Let's avoid lightsabers in our bodies. So another halt is called. Both of your lightsabers are off again. This is
Okay.
something that we hit, an issue that we came across a lot early on, where the batteries in our lightsabers would be shaken loose after a few too many hits. And so the lightsabers would turn off because the batteries were not in there anymore. Later on, we had a couple different ways to solve that, but that is why you'll see a lot of early matches where lightsabers
Well,
turn off.
I think that has been solved recently with the brand new Galactic Standard. It doesn't use double A's, and I think that's a good enough recommendation.
Couldn't agree with you more. Charging ports all the way.
Like the amount of work I went through to keep my 4 AA batteries from coming dislodged, I could have just hand built a lightsaber, and the amount of effort to keep one set of 4 batteries together.
It was ridiculous. Not the best design. I think my original fighting saber broke after I took a particularly hard hit to the button to turn it on. It broke the plastic casing around the button and the button came out.
Oh, geez.
So that lightsaber doesn't work anymore.
Don't block with the lightsaber or the hilt.
It was either the hilt or me. All right, so we are at our 6th halt here. It is still 10-3. Blue is winning. Blue is Cale on the left.
Yay. Blue team rules. It's hard to see my lightsaber on.
It is. And that is the final halt. Can you tell me where you hit?
I'm gonna guess I got the back side of his head, or I mean, sorry, the far side of his head from the camera.
It was definitely either a head or a back shot. You managed to get past him and
Miraculously.
smack him on the back of something. It was 5 points, so it was either head or torso. There's a feint.
A leap. Oh, I did get him on the back. Okay. I think he made contact as well, but he didn't have the priority anymore after the initial swing.
He did not have the priority. So he swings at you. You come around, smack him in the back. He's making contact with your shoulder there, but no one gets to attack twice in a row unless a certain amount of time has passed or their opponent doesn't do anything, in which case you would do a complete full load again and attack again. In this case, you did do something. You hit him in the back, so you had priority.
That's how many points is a back shot?
A back shot is 5 points because it is torso.
Should definitely be 5 points.
So anything with vital organs is 5 points.
Yeah, I guess the back has a few vital organs.
A couple.
Spleen, liver. Courage. Your courage organ.
The heart, if you try hard enough.
So that counted for the last 5 points I needed, or?
Yes, that was the kill shot, for lack of a better term. This is now 15-3.
Tail shot.
Oh, okay.
Those 3 points are the worst. Only because they're against me.
But yeah, that is the end of the match. I believe I'd like to see the end just because the cordial handshake at the end of the match is my favorite part.
Does the back count as torso?
Can't think of any other part of the body it would be.
Yeah, the only time the back counts as a limb is in racing. That's a terrible joke about the back leg of a track.
Okay, I wasn't gonna ask, but I'm glad you explained yourself.
For non-runners out there, the back leg is the far point of a track.
So that is Cale versus Lee. Cale ended with 15 points. Lee ended with 3. And I mean, you saw you guys handshake at the end, and everyone's still friends.
I think most importantly, Xander has a gorgeous smile. Look at Xander's smile.
Xander really does sum up this video perfectly. It was wonderful to watch and something you'll think about for a bit afterwards.
That should be that's our new official logo, is Xander's face. That was fun.